Okay, so after that initial first clip, I once again started recording, but that recording is not going to come into play until after this recording. So I'm not really going in chronological order here, but I forgot to bring this about. So another thing that I was intrigued by as a child was space. And of course, that was back in a time when space was a big issue. Of course, because in 1969 we had the supposed moon landing, and then in the early 70s we had the other missions. And well, here's some of my artistry that I did when I was a kid. Yeah, I grew up on comic books. I love comic books. Um, but anyways, one of my earliest drawings of the Earth, the moon. Um, Now this is kind of crazy to look at, but here we're showing the sun, the orbit of the Earth around the sun, and yeah, it looks like rings around the Earth. And of course, you can see the North and South Pole and how it tilts, and but that ring was actually, I believe, um, the circling of the moon. I'm not sure, in which we have that right there. And okay, and there is our solar system, and which of course back then we had Pluto as a planet. And I want to make mention that. Okay, so as far as the Sumerian tablet, Sumerian writings, the Sumerian text, whatever. Uh, so the story goes that they came from a planet and ventured their way this way to Earth, and they were able to correctly identify these planets on the way here. Okay, whereas back then, you there was no knowledge from here out that way as far as these planets. So just keep that in mind. And yeah, another one, the Earth with, there we go. There's the moon revolving around, making a circular journey. Okay, and of course, here's some of the propaganda and the narratives that we had to learn back then. And this was, yeah, 1977, I guess. And which is kind of ironic because it's September here. And if you will go through my recording, September is quite a significant month when it comes to certain recordings that I have. But, it's all explanations of space. What is space? The Milky Way, a galaxy of stars, early ideas about space, the beginning of modern ideas about space, another astronomer, more discoveries, um, how telescopes work, modern telescopes, the largest refracting telescope, another giant, the largest reflecting telescope. See, I've been into this for a long time. The spectroscope. Um, this is something that you might want to look into. This is basically kind of what I think is part of what is going on when we see certain things up there that has the spectral colors to them. Stars, constellations, um, distance of the stars, more about the constellations, a myth about the Big Bear and the Little Bear, talking about the Big Dipper and the Little Dipper. Um, Imagine that, huh? The dragon, Draco. And no, people, I am not part. Well, basically, I am a rebel dragon of the Draconian Dragons. I don't expect you to understand this, but if you do understand it, awesome. Very appreciative if you do understand that. You see, it's the Draconians that are powerful. There's a message here, but I'm not going to go into it. Okay, Cassiopeia and Cephas. Ryan and Taurus. Kind of strange how my mom held on to all this stuff and how it really has related to my life. The Zodiac. Adventuring into space. Space travel. Now, here we go. It is about satellites and rockets. Very intriguing. Fun stuff, fun stuff. So, there we have a little bit about my space education, in which I do not do much on space, but, yeah. Alright, so, enjoy my next and last segment. Now, unfortunately, I hit the stop button instead of the pause button, but I'm continuing on from here. Okay, so when I was in middle school, a journalism class was one of my favorite classes, and you can see some of my notes here that I took about journalism, and in connection with, well, back then it was mass media. We now refer to it as mainstream media, the Mockingbird media, and so forth. But yeah, I took a lot of notes about the journalistic world and journalism terms and definitions. And, and it's kind of strange because what am I doing on YouTube? That's basically a type of journalism. Sociology. Okay. I got into sociology. You had to, because that comes into play with journalism. And so these are a lot of my middle school notes from journalism class, and which I also had some side notes of other things that I was of interest to me. And that's not picking that up very good. But anyways, so I've got Barrow, which is a burial mound. Scop person who chanted poems, alliteration, repeating beginning, constant sound. Kennings, compound words instead of real people and things, such as heaven's high arc or rainbow. There we go. Now we can see it. And what can one see in the society in the epic poem of Beowulf? And of course, because of my past heritage, and which is kind of crazy. Yeah. And then there's more on sociology, and then I also had my poems. Yep, poet and didn't know it. And then we also have, within journalism, newspaper writing, we have the body, the chronological order, which is, well, of course, my channel, I try to keep in chronological order. The column rule, composite news story, copy, editorializing, inverted pyramid, what does killed mean, and there is your inverted pyramid of news stories and how they present them. And yeah. Man, it's going to be a long video, but I don't care. A clean copy, delete, ears, insert, yeah, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Fun stuff there. Now, so not only did I have a journalism class, but I was also part of the newspaper. Okay, right here you can see that I was assistant editor, right there. This is right here where I was a reporter. And right here, Morgan Weaver, page 4 editor. Yeah. Even back when I was a reporter and I wrote a column here. And basically it was, do students have any rights anymore? See, even back then, it was all about fighting against censorship. And this was in regards to Skip Day. I also did articles on people that was smoking off school grounds. And I don't know if I still have that one or not, but basically it was another rebel report that I did. And I was also into psychology. Yeah. Actually, I really enjoyed the study of abnormalities within the human mind and the thought process and whatever. But this was over cults. And taken from an article from Psychology Today, 1979. And it was about cults. And this is what I wrote. If you want to pause this and read it, cool, cool. If you have no interest, cool. Yeah. So there's that. Fun times, fun memories, eh? Really has led up to the person that I am today. Lifelong rebel, reporter, entertainer. Although my channel has not had that much entertainment quality to it. Wildlife, environmentalism. I mean, it is just amazing how much of this so far back, as I stated, denoted the future of my so-called life. Really crazy stuff. And where, a lot of my content on my channel revolves around this stuff from my early days in so-called life. It's really interesting to have this material on hand to contemplate towards self-realization, self-actualization, and knowing, why am I the way that I am today? It's because that's how I was then. So, all in all, I hope that you've enjoyed a little bit of my past that I've shared with you, a little bit more to get to know me, even though I am waving goodbye. So, There's plenty more that I could share, but these are some things that I just thought were very unique and very intriguing and very compelling evidence towards who and what I am today and why I share the content that I do share, because evidently it's been part of me my whole life. Crazy, crazy stuff. Have a great one, all.